Okay. So before we do the last big fight, let's do the review. Real quick. This is a fantastic game. I love it, in fact. This is like the quintessential indie game. It's so creative, it's so unique. I love original ideas. Even when they take inspiration from well-established video games that have come before, it manages to combine elements of those games into a unique package that you've never seen before. So this game takes inspiration, Titan Souls takes inspiration from Dark Souls and Shadow of the Colossus, two of the best games ever created, and two of the most artistic games ever created. So this game, it's like Shadow of the Colossus in that you fight only bosses. There's nothing else. There's no filler. It's just boss fights. And you have an open world to explore to find the different bosses. At first, you know, they're just little caves, and you can see them, and it's straightforward. But then you get like this large open landscape to explore. And that's kind of where the inspiration from Zelda comes in. And over here, we're going to enter the Lost Woods. Well, I don't know what the official name of this place is, but it's exactly like the Lost Woods from The Legend of Zelda, you know, Ocarina of Time. Take your pick. A lot of Zelda games had Lost Woods kind of area. And it's so cool. And I really like how they create this large open world because it's so artistic. Now, the graphics are great. They're fantastic. It uses the same game engine as Hyper Light Drifter. Hyper Light Drifter has better graphics than this. It's more colorful. And I prefer the pixel art, but the graphics in this game are still really good. And it's necessary. It's necessary for it to look like this. You know, your character is very small. He's tiny. He's like almost like a single tile, I think, in size. But like if you look at the environment, you have trees that sway in the wind. You have grass that sways. You know, you even have 3D games coming out these days that don't even have grass that sways. You know, and you can see the wind blowing. And there's so much detail. This is a great game engine, great 2D game engine. I know it's used a lot in indie games, so you know games that use this engine kind of have that samey look, just like how you know games from the PS3 era all used Unreal Engine 3, so they kind of look samey. But this game still manages to take creative use of the engine. Using the subdued color palette. You know, the colors don't pop as much, but it makes sense in this game. You know, the colors didn't pop in Shadow of the Colossus for the PS2 either, so it makes sense. And now, like I said, the game takes inspiration from Dark Souls as well, and it manages to capture the essence of Dark Souls in the sense that it's really tough. The bosses are so tough, but when you beat them, it's so satisfying. And you feel accomplished. You feel like you mastered and surmounted a huge challenge. That sense of satisfaction can't be replicated. Now, you know, there are some easy bosses, but I actually like that. Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, they all had easy bosses too. It's just something to help, you know, make it feel less like you're always on edge, like you're always filled with anxiety. You know, there can be some bosses that are easy, so you know, so you can feel a little bit more like a badass because your skills have improved. And that's the other thing in this game is that your character never becomes more powerful. He has very simple controls. You know, walks in 8 directions. He can roll, he can run, and he shoots a single arrow, and when you shoot it, you have to collect it again. You know, like it's so simple, but it's ingenious at the same time. And you have to defeat all bosses like this. One hit kills you, but one hit kills each boss. You might have to defeat a shield that's protecting the vulnerable part. But still, it's just one arrow will kill it, and I love that. The music's also really great. It helps set the mood. You know, you feel isolated in this world. You know, it's you against the entire world, just like in Dark Souls, just like in Shadow of the Colossus. And similar to Shadow of the Colossus, you instigate the fights, and every single boss battle you have to shoot first. The bosses never are fighting, they're not evil, you know, they're just passively existing, and then you show up and then pick a fight with them, and I like that. It sets the mood and gives a little bit of character as well. So yeah, like I said, the music really helps set the tone, and it's, you know, sometimes you won't hear music, like right now. It's just quiet. You can hear the wind, and then at certain points the music then kicks in. And some boss battles, you know, it's like heavy metal music, and I love that because then it makes the bosses have their own unique flavor to set them apart from other bosses. And they're so creative. You know, I really should talk about the bosses. They're so well designed. I love finding a new boss and then figuring out its weakness. That's part of the challenge of this game. You know, it's not just defeating the bosses, it's how do you defeat the bosses, because it's a puzzle. So it manages to combine action with puzzle elements in an intuitive way. So yeah, it's just a wonderful, amazing indie game, and you know, I hope more people play it and appreciate it, because it's really hard to find originality and creativity in games. And when you know, you got to leave it up to the indies to do it, because they're the ones at the forefront with all these amazing ideas, innovating and enriching video games. This game definitely does that. And that's all I gotta say.